This lesson 68, you can tell that I've put up here P times of equals is. That's the exact same form as our F times of equals is. F times of equals are stood for fractional parts of numbers. P is going to stand for percent. We're going to be doing percentage word problems where we have to use this exact same idea that we've been doing for fractions. We'll just use percents instead. We are going to add in percents a diagram that we're going to draw to help us out. And that will be counted as a point on your homework. Okay, and I'll explain that when we get to it. So the same rules apply that we just talked about in our little bell work thing. Is your percent and your is are going to represent the same. Why are you moving?
That is so cool. There's a ghost.
Same item. The of is the total, and is the part. Okay, and then any of those other ideas that would be in there as well. Okay, so let's see. Now, this first one doesn't exactly follow that route real well, but let's see what we got. Sales tax is 5% in Maryland. Joey bought a pair of basketball shoes advertised for $62. How much sales tax did he pay? So we're given the percent, which is 5%. And what idea goes in the of spot?
You want to put the
What idea?
the number
Total. What's the total cost of the shoes?
$62.
$62. Braden.
Could you on these problems, could you divide the 62 and 5% and then add what you got to the 62?
We'll be doing something like that. Maybe not on this one, but. Alright. How much tax did he pay? Well, we know that the 5% had to be opposite the actual tax amount. So we're going to, now it's set up to go ahead and just multiply those two parts. Trenton, 5% as a decimal is?
0.5.
5%.
0.05.
0.05 times 62 gives you that value. And you're going to have to work this out. $3.10. Now, does the question ask for us to put that in the total? Does it say what was the total cost of the shoes, or is it just asking what's the tax?
How much sales tax?
How much sales tax? Yes, ma'am.
Couldn't you just take 62 times 5 and move over the decimal twice?
That's what you do. Wonderfully done. Okay. Okay. The big baby weighed 15 pounds. Mama weighed him a week later and he weighed 18 pounds. Mama could not believe it. 3-pound increase. Mama wondered, what percent increase is this? Okay. The question's asking for us to find the percent. Percent what?
3% increase.
The increase. So we have our what percent, and we know that that has to line up with the increased amount. Okay. Do we know the increased amount?
No. Oh, yeah. 3 pounds.
It was 3 pounds, wasn't it? It says right here. Mama couldn't believe it. A 3-pound increase. So we're looking for a what percent increase, so the 3 pounds goes on the end. Now raise your hand. What number and y is going to go in the of spot? Lainey?
18.
Why?
Because since it was a 3-pound increase, you want to. Yeah.
Okay, that's all right. Let's see what Fish says.
The total? Something like that.
Total. Okay. Jonathan?
15.
Why?
that was the previous weight.
Okay. Yes. Look at your notes from the F times of equals is lesson. Which was lesson 62. Look at now, there's an event thing, right? One of the items that indicates which number goes in the of and the is spots is based on when an event occurs. Laney, which event goes in the of spot?
The 8.
Which
Oh, no,
event?
you would-
What's in your
the
notes? What's
total.
it say?
The total.
Scroll down. Scroll down.
Oh, the first event.
The first event in time.
So
It goes in the of. The second event in time would go in is. So the first event in time is when the baby weighs 15 pounds. Because he has to weigh 15 pounds before he weighs 18 pounds, right?
Yep.
So 15 pounds goes there. Right. Now why doesn't the 18 in this case, it's the second event in time, why doesn't it go in the is spot? Why did we put 3 in the is spot?
Because it was a 3 pound increase.
Can you give me a little more information?
Like,
You're on the right track, or a little more specificness. What are we looking for? What did the question ask for?
it's what percentage?
The increased percent. So that we have to put the number 3 here in this situation. Okay? It wasn't just wanting the percent of 15 is 8. It didn't say what percent of 15 is 18. Okay? It just wants to increase. So now how do we solve this when we have what percent of 15 equals 3, Emily?
20%.
How do we solve it though?
Oh. You divide 3 by 15.
Correct. We're dividing both sides by 15. And you've already done the arithmetic on that and found that what percent is equal to 20?
Can you just do the reciprocal?
You can multiply by the reciprocal of 15 by taking 1 over 15, and so then 3 over 1 times 1 over 15, that'd be fine. Is everybody clear on the 20% where that comes from? You could reduce 3/15 first if you wanted 1/5 and then divide 1 by 5.
And then we'd have
Mhm.
to make it.
Okay. Now, we're going to put into play here, I think, a little bit of a diagram with this. Looking at this picture up here, on the left, we're representing a total. We're representing 100%, and the value of that is 600. Okay, so this is what takes place first. If we split this up into 2 different parts, and one part is 70%, how do we find, Jacob Ivans, A? How would we find the percent value for A if we know that the whole thing is 100%, this part is 70?
A would be 30%.
And how do you get that?
100 minus 70.
Okay, 100 minus 70 would give you 30% for A. Okay, Isaiah. Going and looking at B, the part there, how would we find that missing value in B? Do we know the total?
Yes. Yeah. it's
These two are
600.
connected. This is
So when you just take
600.
600.
Do you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what did she say?
600 minus 180.
600 minus 180. 180. 0. Do your borrowing. 420. Okay. Now, what does this have to do with anything? we're going to use, I'm modifying the diagram a little bit from what the way the book shows it and what we just did there, but you get the idea. So we're going to, let me read the problem and then we'll get into it. Ewan was a smart shopper. He got a gray kilt for $433.65. It was 30% off the original price. What was the original price? All right, we're going to use this diagram to help us organize our values, our money, and our percents. Okay. First off, above our circle here, we're going to write 100%, and that's going to give us the total cost. The full circle as a whole is the 100%. Okay, and whatever the total cost is would go along with that. Then we're breaking it up into two parts. I'm given here that 30% is what? What is 30% representing? What idea?
30% how much you got off.
That's the discount. Would that be safe?
Yeah.
The discounted amount? Discount. So it's 30% off. And then 70% would have to be the other part. Again, that 100 minus the 30%, 70%. What idea would it be representing?
How much she paid of it from the original price.
Go ahead, Mercedes, say it again.
The original price. How much money he got.
Is it going to be the original price?
But it's how much she paid.
It's what she paid of the original. Okay, so it's not the original, but it is what the cost is after the discount. Cost after discount. Okay, I'm just going to write that. So there's our percents that we can get written down. Now let's figure out where to put this $433.65. He got the gray kilt for that amount, and that was 30% off the original price. So what's the original price? Where does the original price or original number go in our equation when we get ready to set it up, by the way?
In the middle because it's the total.
Okay. If we go back to our P times of equals is, total goes in the middle. It's in our of spot, and we used original amount is an idea for total. Okay. So we know that we're going to be looking for the total. So we do not know this amount. So this $433.65 has to be the discounted amount or the cost. Hey, Jake, Bennett, which one is it? Was 433 the discounted amount or was it the cost?
It was what he paid for.
It's what he paid for it. So that number goes with the 70%. We do not know the amount off yet either, okay, or the discounted amount. With this diagram filled into this point, we can set up an equation now. This is put our information in a place where we can see it. We know 70%, and we have a value for that. So 70%, we don't know the total. That's what we're looking for. But this was cost, right? Or what they paid, maybe would be a better, paid would be a better word for that. So the 70% being equal to the $433.65, we know that has to go in this location. Follow me? Braden, how would I solve then for our variable or what number?
Would you divide the 43 or
43.65.
and
$433.65.
and the 70%?
Okay, how would we write 70%?
0.7.
0.7. So we're dividing this by 0.7.
Could you set up
What'd you
from
get?
the top?
61.95.
61.95. $61 was the original cost.
That's how much.
Does that make sense? That's the fourth step in the problem solving step,
That's
isn't
how
it?
much you got off.
That's, yeah, you would add that to the.
And then you would add that much.
So if you divide $433.65 by 0.7, and I'm going to shortcut it and use my handy dandy. 433.65 divided by 0.7. You were close, you just had your decimal in the wrong spot. $619.50 is your what number, is your total. Now we can fill in the rest of our diagram as well. So I can erase
couldn't
my...
you from from the original formula, whatever, couldn't you just write it as 30x equals 433.65?
Say that again?
Okay, from the original thing, couldn't you just take 30x equals 433.65?
No, because 30 is the discounted amount, so we can't line up the discounted amount. Remember, these two have to represent the same item or the same kind of number or the same information. And if you put 30 there, that's the discounted amount. And then you're saying that the $433 would have been what was discounted off the original. So you can't put those in line with each other.
So you could do 70?
It has to be 70% of that. So let's fill in the rest of our diagram now. This is the total. We all agree with that. So that's going to go here, $619.50. So, Brittany, how would I figure out what was actually discounted? If I add, would it make sense to add the total or the original cost plus what we cost to find the discounted amount? Subtract them. So let's see, again, out of laziness.
185.85.
Good job. 185.85. Now, how important is it to me that you draw the diagram on these percentage problems to help set the problems up? It's worth a point on every homework assignment. Is how much. Your problems are going to say draw a diagram to help solve the problem. That is going to be worth 1 point along with the answer to the problem. Does that make sense? Are we clear on that?
Yeah.
So me drawing this isn't just to help me out on the problem here for you guys. It's part of what we're doing. Let's see if we can figure out the Eichens situation here. 40% of all the Eichens in Hanover attended the reunion. If 160 Eichens attended, how many Eichens are in Hanover? Draw a diagram to help solve the problem. So the total on top, we're always going to start with 100%. That represents the total. Am I given any percents other than that anywhere?
40%.
40%. So I'm going to put that in the smaller part. And what does that 40% represent?
How much went to their union?
Class
Attended.
attended. It's how many went or attended. So I'm going to put attended with that. Jonathan, what percentage is the other part going to be?
60.
Okay. Why?
Because 40, well, yeah, 40 minus 100. No, 100 minus 40 is 60.
Okay, there you go. We have that part. We already know 40%, so we know that part, so it's the difference. Now we can go in. Logan, what number am I given? 160. Where is that going to go, Logan? Is that the total? Is that the attended? Or is that the number that didn't attend? Attended. So it's going to go across from my 40%. I'm looking for how many Eichens there are. What is that idea? Trenton? I'm looking for how many Eichens are in Hanover. What is that idea? Don't know? What idea? Do you have it in your notes in lesson 62?
No, I didn't get lesson 62.
Oh, maybe we need to get those. Lane, would you open yours to lesson 62 again, please? You hand that little slip to Trenton so that he can, after we're done, transfer that into his notes. Now, looking at that, what does, look at these words here.
It's the total.
It's the total. We're looking for the total, aren't we? We're given two parts out of the attended. So I can use that information, 40%. I know I'm looking for the, say it again, Trenton. Total, so that is in the of spot. And that equals 160. Because these two items come from the same part. She's handing it back to you. Please take that.
So I was gonna need it after he was done because
Mercedes, how do I solve for the total then?
Divide 160 divided by 40, 4.4.
0.4. Okay, good. And you got that, Mr. Calculator?
I guess. What
Isn't it 400?
divided by 0.4?
I think.
400?
400. Where is that going to go? So here's your answer. That's 1 point. And then where is that going to go in your diagram? Jake Ivins?
60% equals 100.
Remember with this, 40% was what attended, 60% was what didn't attend, did not. So is this number here that I talked to Trenton about, what's that item represent? Total. Is the total going to be the number that didn't attend, or is the total the total? The total would be the total. That's what we're looking for, and wouldn't that have to be the 100%? Isn't that the total number of people that live in Hanover? Then how can I find out how many did not attend, Emily?
you subtract the 400 from the 160.
Say that differently.
The 160 from the 400.
There you go. And that is what, 240? 240. So here is your second point.
Wait, so then why wouldn't you take the 60% like, so you have the 40%, why wouldn't it be the 60% like it was last time?
In our equation
Yeah.
to begin with. Okay, we'll discuss this again here. If I put 60% here, does the 60%, Laney, represent the same item as what 160 is? 160 was what?
How many attended?
How many attended? Is 60% the percent that attended? No, it's the number that did not attend. They're not the same item, are they?
No.
And so they're conflicting there. You can't do it. You have to have the same representation of the item there. Yes?
Yeah.
No? Just like the fractional parts of number problems. Those, I know, you're going to have to get better. Yes?
To find the total, why couldn't you just divide 160 by 4 and then multiply 4 by 10?
That's the shortcut to it. Yeah. And that's okay if you can see that each time and do it that way. Still going to need the diagram. Alright? Because that is expected. We've talked many times, haven't we, about the fact that there's different ways to get your answers. I'm showing you the way that's consistent through the book and the way that we do things. But you can do those other ways if it works for you. Yeah, it took a little longer today, didn't it? Yeah. Problem set 68, 1 through 30.
You got a message.
When will this be due?
Monday.
Tuesday.
Monday. Because
tomorrow.
Test
Friday.
Friday.
So is it?
Actually,
Okay, why did you